used to think that I wasn't fine enough. And I used to think that I wasn't wild enough. But I won't waste my time trying to figure out why you playing games. What's this all about? And I can't believe.
First of all, why is Kadeem upside down? All right. Welcome back to Life Be Lifin'. This is episode 3, season 2, with your host Mo
April.
and we have two amazing guests today. We have our very bestest friends,
Dizzy and Kadeem.
All right, we're really excited to have our friends here today. We're going to be having amazing conversations.
So we have a meme here where it says, do you know how rare it is to meet a man and you could go over to his house and he got a bed? I'm talking about he got AC, he got Wi-Fi, he got a king-size bed, and I was able to sleep and nobody popped up.
Yeah,
but there's certain requirements though.
No, but I feel like women should just accept more a man living with his mom than not having a bed.
Ooh.
Yeah. I feel like everyone should just know what they like. There's hobo men, there's hobo women, there's rich men, there's rich women. I feel like just know what you like.
Okay.
Like, in my opinion. So it's like a one-sided thing, right? Like, there's women who don't have shit and want to be with men that have things, and there are men that don't have whatever and want to be with women that have it. So it's almost like it's up to you and what you like. Like if, for example, maybe the D's good, but he's a hobo, and that's what you're looking for because you have money, and kind of like I always say, like the Nicki Minaj situation, right? Like, then it works for you. You see what I'm saying?
The
Then it
Nicki
works
Minaj
for you.
situation.
Like Nicki
Minaj
did not marry
Oh.
someone that was like richer than her or in the industry, or like she married someone because maybe he's a protective guy, he protects her, but I'll take care of you, I make money, I got you, all you need to do is pipe me down well, be my security, make sure you got me. Like, it just depends on what you want. If you're a woman that like, okay, I want to like meet someone who's equally as financially stable as me so that we can grow together, then that's what you like. So I just feel like it's hard to generalize these things. It just depends on what you like.
Yeah, because when you first started talking, you were like, "Who's gonna purposely choose a hobo? Like, no matter how, or like, someone who ain't got shit. Like, no matter how
I
good
don't
the
think
dick
it's
is,
on
you're not gonna
purpose. It's
purposely-
like, I think it's however the man presents himself, right? Like, no man is gonna come and go, "Hey, my name is John and I got no house." Like, no guy's gonna present himself like that.
You would know in like if you guys date like maybe after like a month, like and you're spending time together. At some point, you'll be like, "That's your house, okay? Oh, it's a bed on the floor. Oh, okay." Like you would start to pick up things. Maybe I'm just good at reading people too, but like I think you'll pick up something that would tell you where he lands in the hobo world.
Would you feel like this is an older man kind of problem or like a younger man kind of problem? Because think about it with our age range, right? Because we're old enough to date the bull and young enough to take the calf. And just in case people are not aware of that phrase, it pretty much means we could date the daddy or we could date the son. We right in the middle.
So wait, just to get this right, you're saying that women in their late 30s can do both? Or are you saying women in general? Women in their 30s.
But it's
Okay.
the same perspective for men.
Anybody in general. But at this point in your life, in your mid-30s, you can do both. So it's just like, what are you going to accept? Like, would you accept a homosexual more if he's like 40 or if he's like 20s? Because like 20s, you don't expect them to have shit, right? So you're like, okay, you can drop off some dick every once in a while and go about your business.
You can live with your mama if you do.
Exactly. But like, like if it's getting up to like, you're in your 40s now and you're like, all right, you expect a man to be like more established around then and just like, not have a bed on the floor, right? Like not have a mattress on the floor and like, be somewhat functional of a person. But like, yeah, so like in their 20s, you're like, all right, that's more acceptable. It's fine. You can stay in the bed all day while I go to work. I won't cry about it too tough as long as you do what you need to do.
In the house, do the laundry.
They're not cleaning the house. They're not cleaning the house. You know they're not cleaning the house. They're not doing no laundry. They're
Well,
gonna
you
be in there
should.
in
Then
your
what
bed.
else you doing than laying the
And what
pipe?
is it good for? Just
That's
piping
all.
down?
But you see, that's the thing.
Exactly.
Like
Like,
these homosexual men, they're not out here doing the housework, right? They think that their only job
They
is to
got
lay
one
the pipe, and
assignment.
then they
One
lay around in
assignment.
the bed all
One
day
assignment.
playing video games.
They got
That's
one
what they
assignment.
do. You
It
know,
can never
nah,
be
and
me.
nah,
just like
nah,
the
nah,
rich
nah.
women, the
It
women
can
that have
never be
established
me.
that Mo was talking about earlier, when you're establishing everything, you don't expect him to do nothing because you have someone coming to clean the place anyway. You don't give a fuck what he did all day, as long as he eating the cat good at night and he piping you down and you have a good night rest. What else are you asking for?
Now,
What
what
else
if
do
he's
you
cheating?
require? Is
Now,
that your
what if he's
business?
out
Do you
here?
want him to be a man? Do you want him to be a man? Do you want him to be your man?
Okay, but
You
you know
have
how out there.
recognized, but you have recognized that this man ain't got shit for you. You
But the D
know
is
this
good, and
now.
I'm in love.
But okay, you and all right, fine, okay, fine,
Wait,
and that.
you
Oh,
already know
but
that's not me.
that's the
I'm
thing.
just saying.
But
That's
that's
what
the
I be
thing we were
hearing
talking
out
about
there.
last week. That's the thing we were talking about last week, right? With the
Yes, you bringing up, you was the one that ended us on episode 2 where all men cheat, they all need sides, and they get tired of the same cracker. Sir, I'm glad you're here because you can step to the plate and address the audience with that. Because
So I
yeah,
just want to say my 2 cents on that topic, right? All men
uh-huh,
cheat. So, I was thinking, and I've been thinking, I have this analogy of why, because at one point I was thinking, like, why are there so many educated women, so many good looking women that are single? Like, and I've met them and they're really good wifey quality, amazing women. And I'm like, why are they single? Like, what is the problem? So I took it all the way back to the Bible days, like even before the Bible. And I realized that, like, back in the day when you start reading like Genesis Bible, men were marrying more than one wife. They were marrying like 10 wives or whatever, right? Like, that was just since Genesis, the beginning of the Bible. And then all of a sudden, I can't speak for America, but in Africa, the British came to Africa, brought Christianity, and then told Africans, you can only marry one person, right? And this is Africa where people were marrying 100 wives, 10 wives, as many women as you could take care of, right? And now you're
hmm
saying one to one. If God was giving man 10 wives back in the day, it's because he was creating more women than men. And now that it's one on one, there's a lot more single women and not enough men. So I think that is the biggest problem. First of all, there's too many women that are available. There's not enough men to go around. And my point is that it's in the DNA. And it sucks because that's why a lot of women are single. Am I making sense or not?
It's an opinion.
It's
Yeah.
in whose DNA? It's in the men's
It's
DNA to do what?
it's human nature for a man to want more than one because that's how
Uh-huh,
it's always been, right?
uh-huh,
But then when they created this thing called cheating, meaning that one on one, and now if you go outside that one, it's cheating. So
mm-hmm,
now it's created so much issues because now there's more women who are single. So it's two things. There's so many more women who are single because there are not enough men for women from back
mm-hmm,
in the day. And then also because men are just naturally inclined to have multiple, the ones that are
mm-hmm.
in that bucket of one to one are stuck and losing their shit. So guess what they do? They cheat. They go outside
Yeah,
because they want multiple. But if,
yeah,
I wonder sometimes if we lived in a world where people could marry multiple, would cheating be as big as it is? You know what I mean?
yes,
Like, would people
Mm,
care
it
about
would.
cheating? Would
You
cheating be a
oh my
issue?
It
it
God.
would. And you know
depends.
why? Let me tell you.
No, I'm
Oh,
sorry.
sorry,
I
Vicky, you
hate
want to
the
talk?
fact that I'm saying because I'm a woman. Like,
Wait,
that was
wait.
just
Let me hear from Dizzy because you sound like you was about to say something, sir.
So referring to what she said, are you referencing like the opportunity is open to explore and it's not considered cheating? Is that what you're referencing?
like
No, she's
if
just saying if we lived in a world where everybody can marry multiple people,
Uh-huh.
would people still be cheating, or would cheating
There,
even be like, would it feel like as big of a thing as it does now because we live in a
yes,
monogamous,
because
society?
it's now you're shifting the level of monogamy to non-monogamy, where the conversation shifts about a contract. What was established from the beginning? What is considered the outlook of their relationship? If you are stepping out, what does it look like? Is it just for sex or is it an emotional attachment? So you have to figure out the dynamics of what you're trying to build. If you're trying to build a platform or a tribe of women or men, however you prefer, whatever your choice is, the fact that you're building your formality of what love is, what commitment is, what partnership is, that's breaking down into the level of what monogamy is seen as versus non-monogamy, because there's like levels to what you consider commitment looks like. How do you define
Are you talking
commitment through?
about ethical non-monogamy, ENM?
That's where I'm leading towards, because that's what it seemed like what Mo is referencing about how we open up the
Not yet.
conversation is that is it
I,
labeled as cheating? No, it's
what is
not
No, that's
ENM?
not
because
where she is
Sorry.
yet. That's not where she is yet. I think where she is at first, we're talking about just like the essence of man and woman, right? Let's
okay,
get to
Yeah,
that first, because I feel
yeah,
like
yeah.
the essence. I feel like she has recognized, because I feel like she's her mind changed a little bit from last week, from the last conversation that y'all were having, because like where I was saying, my opinions of this is like men naturally have wandering eyes. They naturally it's part of
women
the
too,
hunt. They
women
well
too.
no no I'm gonna get there. I'm gonna get there. Hold on, I'm
Okay,
gonna get to the
let's not
women. I'm gonna
generalize
get to the
women
women.
too.
But like men, they really in it for the chase, right? They like the chase. They like to show off the women that they've won, right? Especially to their boys. They want to have the baddest one or whatever society deems as the most attractive, right? Because in Africa it could be, the smallest waist and the biggest ass. Over here, it wasn't like that, 15, 20 years ago. It used to be just like face wise and like skin tone, shit like that. All of that stuff plays in, right? But men
Yeah.
just want to show off the women that they got to their boys. That's the essence of a man. Or whoever they hunted, they want to show off their prey. They want to show off who they hunted. That's the essence of a man.
That's
That's what men do.
Some no, I will somewhat agree with that because the thing is like how people say, "Oh, you have the trophy wife." What does the trophy wife look like? You want to
Yeah.
expose the trophy wife so nobody touches, and it's like a label behind it, like a stamp, like how they brand cows, and all of a sudden that is mine, that is nobody else's.
And
So I
that's
see
what
where you're
men
getting
do.
at when it comes to that, because it's
But
like stepping
okay,
into the
but if
group
you're gonna
chat and
show off
coming out
your
of the group chat.
trophy, why do you
Uh-huh.
feel like you need another trophy?
You don't got to cherish it, right? Every once in a while, you polish it,
You
make it look
just
nice,
shine
and you
it.
have it
That's
there.
it
But you
sounds
don't
like you
got
just
you
want to
don't got to
shine
look at it
it.
all the time, because guess
but
what?
guess
You're already looking for the next one, right? You're like, all right, I got this one. It's already in the bag. But yeah, and I know she loves me, because that's the other half of the coin, right? Like that's the women's part of the thing now. Y'all want to come in, historically, and I feel biologically that y'all want to hold on, right? You found your protection, you found your guy, and you're like, okay, I'm nice and safe now because I found someone that I've acknowledged can provide for me or whatever, right? Your basic need has been met, and then men don't naturally think about love and the affection part of it, right? We've just thought, okay,
They believe in tasks and fulfilling tasks.
yeah, like stuff is getting done.
Hmm.
I'm getting my rocks off. I've been able to have my kids if I want them. And yeah, and then the natural part of them is like, all right, where else can I spread my seed? Right? It's just a part of nature, it's just a part of man. And I feel like if more women accepted that fact, right? And then too, going back to what Mo was talking about, it takes a village, yeah? If women had that cooperative spirit to be like, all right, we can share this man. If he can take care of me and he can take care of you, what are you providing in this situation? What am I providing in this situation? As long as everybody's respectful. But I feel like a lot of women, because you want to hold on to what's yours, right? Then that's where the competition comes in, because you want to make sure that you mean more than this one to this one, and he's doing more for you. So because that's how you want to show off to your friends, right? that
But
that
even
he's
that
doing
comes,
something.
but it all comes with a level of communication with your partner. Like, what exactly are the tasks that are being needed,
100%.
and what is that, and how do you
Yeah,
compensate that? So
but
So
that's
even
what I'm
if I
saying.
said,
Women need to come together, and like not hold monogamy as such a high standard, and that's
oh,
why
okay,
so many women are so single nowadays, right? Because no one wants to
So
share.
you're
No
saying
one
that
want to be.
women have to get into the concept of sharing.
Yes, Yes, y'all are
No.
already sharing. Y'all are already sharing.
according to
Y'all
history,
are
According to
already
him,
sharing. Y'all are
according to
already sharing. What
history.
you mean?
it's
Y'all are
already
already sharing.
sharing.
What do you mean? What do you
Wait,
mean? Let's
just like
get
how you
into it.
want to say women need to get into the idea of sharing, men need to get an idea that it's okay to sit your ass down. Sit your ass
Well,
down and
yeah, but
stay in one place.
biologically,
Sit your
we don't
ass
want to do
down.
that.
You are not a dog. You don't have to wander. If you really want to take it to nature, hey, yes, you hear lion being the king of the jungle, but it's really the women, the lioness, that's the pride. Okay,
Uh-huh.
we're the ones going
And
out there
how many
hunting,
of them are there?
providing
How
all
many
that stuff,
lionesses
and
are
the
there?
and
How
the
many
male
lionesses are there?
lion, if he ain't doing it, will get kicked out, and they will find another one.
As he
Okay, if you
should.
really want to
As
take
he
it to
should.
nature,
No, as he should
when a
though.
mantis lay with their partner, they cut their head off. Like, let's stop the whole
Yes.
nature thing.
They do.
Let's
Yes.
They
stop
No.
that. They
No. But
do.
do.
you're not.
They cut
You're
the
missing
head
my
off and
point.
eat the
You're
head to
missing my
nourish the
point.
baby.
You're missing
Nah,
my point. You're
my
missing my point here. The
I
women
was
are the
gonna
ones
say,
that are
April, you're
controlling shit
missing
in
the point.
nature.
no, I'm
Women are
not missing the point.
women are
What I'm
controlling it.
saying is I'm tired of the point of the whole nature stuff like that. Women do a lot already. And all we're asking for men is to sit your ass down, provide, secure, and do
And we
what you
don't
gotta
want to
do
do
as the
that.
man.
And me as a
Okay, so
man,
don't
I'm
tell
telling
us
you, we
women what
don't
to
want to
do
do
either,
that.
that we have to share. That's it.
No, but
Don't
what
tell us
if
we
But
have
I'm
to
saying it
share.
would work out so much. It would work out so much better for everyone if that
I think
mentality of
we're
not trying to
talking about
hold
theory.
on.
No, I
Oh,
believe that
sorry.
it will
That
only work.
So
I think it will only work out in that favor if it's given both ends. Like, can the woman do it too? Can the woman step out? Can the woman get her fair share as
Exactly.
with her wandering eye,
can
and
I?
there is no jealousy
but
involved?
And most
most
of the
There
women
is
don't
time
want
they
no.
to.
can't because men
Um,
are selfish about it.
Most women don't want to, and you know that. Like, let's not pretend that everyone is you, April. Let's not pretend that the majority of women out here are as sexually liberated, mind and body, as you, because that's not the case. They're mostly like Mo, okay? Like they want to hold on to them. Like, come on, we getting into it,
No,
right? Like
I agree.
we have two different types of women in here, and that's what makes
I was
this
I was
interesting to
trying
talk
to
about
represent.
because you understand, you're married and you understand what it is to have a liberated mind and know, how to work that in the confines, and I'm going to use the word confines of a marriage. Sorry, boo. And, but that's just the word that speaks to my heart right now, and what I'm
Confined.
saying is that women just naturally want to hold on to the man, point blank, in my opinion. That's just what it is, right? And and if I'm talking about the biology of it all, is what I'm saying is that yes, women run nature, okay? When we're talking about the lions and the pride, yeah, all the women can definitely kill that man and kick him out if he's not doing what he's supposed to do. And that's what I'm saying. Human women can do the same thing. They can pick up stuff from nature and be like, all right, listen, why am I going to stress myself holding on to this man who I know at his core, is the type of person that just wants, that wants to, like, he's got his prey, he wants to show it off, and he's going to try and find somebody, he's going to, he wants the option to at least look around. I'm not saying every man out there is like that, but the vast majority of them are. And the
What
faster
I'm
women
what
realize that,
Yeah.
the unicorns are the men that want to be your friend and want to be in a relationship with you for the rest of your life and
Not
want to have a
unicorns.
conversation. Oh,
Okay.
Wait,
Okay.
can I jump
Head
in?
Bo, go ahead, Bo.
Can I jump in quickly? I feel like what I'm hearing is traditional versus modern day dating, right? I think the trophy
Mm-hmm.
thing you said of a man wanting a woman and a trophy, that's traditionally, right? Because men were the providers. They did everything. All a woman had to do was stay pretty, stay next to them, take care of the home. I think that was traditionally. I think in today's society, a lot of men are not necessarily looking for trophy women. There are some men that still practice traditional, but I'm saying like more modern men, they want someone that's coming in with something like, oh, you got a job, I got a job, let's elevate each other together,
so
or
they want you to
so
shut
it's
up
not.
about it.
But but
They want you to shut up about it.
but my point anyway is that I think when I was giving that analogy, I was saying that that's what I'm based on history, is that. But in terms of like, I'm still a monogamous person. I don't want my man to have another woman or another wife. You know what I mean? But I'm just saying that if we're looking at history, it just seems that it falls in that direction, but which is unfortunate, right? So it kind of explains to me why there's so many single women and not enough men, and that's usually what you hear people complain about a lot. But in
Yeah.
terms of
Mm.
modern relationships, I think there are three different types, right? There's monogamy, there's open, and then there's poly, right? And in my definitions, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong because I know I'm a little in a box. But I think the way I define it is like if you're a monogamous one on one man, one woman. When you're in an open relationship, is you're together one on one, but you can go outside and meet other people. And then poly is you're bringing someone into the relationship. So now there's three of y'all in that relationship, right? Is that the
Or more.
definition?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Or
or
more,
more.
yeah.
Yes. That's
Right?
yeah. For the most part, yes.
There's more
Okay,
broken
cool. Look at me, so educated. So I think nowadays, like, there's a lot of people struggle with like which bucket do they want to fit into out of those three. And I think from what I'm hearing, especially with like the Gen Zers, maybe a little bit of millennials that think they're still there in that Gen Z phase, a lot of people are shifting from monogamy to open relationship, right? I don't think a lot of people are in poly yet, but they are, of course, they exist. But I'm saying, like, I think people are moving more into open. And this could also be because of what I was saying, where like a man is feeling like, I don't want to be trapped in one on one because I can't do it. But I want to be able, I love you, I want to be with you, but I want to still be able to, go out, meet other people, have sex, or whatever it is that they're doing. And I want it to be okay, right? Which then it's not considered cheating because you're being transparent with that person, right?
Right.
So I think that kind of fills that gap in that, like, I don't want you to marry somebody else, but I want you to be with me, but you can go and play and come back home, right?
Mm-hmm.
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 So maybe that's
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
fix. Maybe now,
That's
so
it. That's
maybe it's coming into
Well,
full circle again, right? Because now open
no.
relationship is bridging that gap, right? Of that, but it's just poly is
Well,
then saying okay, they can marry more than one.
I would say like the exploration of different avenues of relationship is being more explored and becoming more popular. Yes, poly is a new sensational word, but it's always been out there. And then for others, another phrase for open relationship is ethical non-monogamy, which we mentioned earlier, ENM, which is a term used to describe relationship where all partners agree to have romantic or sexual connections with more than one person. So, like Mo was mentioning, it's pretty much having that conversation with your partner and saying like, hey, I love you, I care about you, we're good. It's just every now and then I would like to bring another person into a relationship. And now, not all the time, because I know some people like, well, if my partner is doing it, can I do it too? Well, if that's the dynamic of relationship, yes. Yes, it can. But there's also relationships where it's called solo poly, right? Where it's just you
Jumping
that
around.
explore around and your partner is monogamy to you. And they're okay with you playing around because, they just don't naturally feel like connecting with other partners. They're okay with just being with you. So it's just like there's different.
It's not just that simple. It's not
It
that
could
just
never be
simple.
me.
I
It
just
could
feel
never
like a
be
lot of
me.
people. I just feel like a lot of people have this mentality, or I can say fantasy in a way, because they tend to not distinguish what the work it involves behind what you want to get into, because it all comes from the level of communication. If you can't really communicate what's really the reason why you're stepping up, because I've heard situations where fulfillment is not yet met from you. You can fulfill XYZ, all the tasks, but there's one thing in particular that the partner's not doing, but can be satisfied with somebody else, and you're only stepping out just for that, and you come back.
Well, you see,
It
that
could
is
be
the part I don't like in when it comes to open relationships or this openness thing, is that why must it be like I lack something for you to go out and get it? Why couldn't just be like I would rather you just say like, yo, I like to test. I like multiple. So is it okay for me to still test but love you and blah blah blah? I don't mind that. But when you start saying, "Oh, you don't fulfill a specific need," then that means I'm not enough for you. Like I don't know. I just
no,
feel like
because
yes.
this is why
That's
the
what
level of
that
communication
means.
is
so you think
important,
so you
because
think everyone
That's
in
what
an
that
open
means.
relationship does not feel satisfied? Is that what you're saying?
no,
People in
I
open
didn't say
Yes.
that.
relationships are
I
not
did not say
satisfied.
that. No,
I
I didn't
I
say
believe
that.
that. He don't believe that. I
Okay,
believe that.
okay,
I didn't
okay.
say
All
that.
right. Wait. I
There's
want
two
to hear this.
different
I want to hear.
versions of
Okay.
it.
Well, Dizzy was talking. Let's hear from Dimi. Like, why do you feel
Yeah.
yes?
Okay. So you know, we always talk about this 80-20 rule in life, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's I you know, it's something that I live my life with when it comes to relationships. You're not gonna get everything from one person. That's just impossible. And let me not say impossible, very improbable. If you find it, if you convinced yourself that this one person is everything that you've needed and will need for the rest of your life, all the power to you, right? But again, we're humans. We always crave, we always desire something that we don't have in hand. That's just how we're built. So it's just, in my opinion, we're just always going to be looking. There's always going to be something else, something new that we want, something else we want to taste, something we want to try, explore, discover. That's just the nature of humanity. So I'm never going to say that one person is going to be everything that I need for the rest of my life, because I don't know what I'm going to need tomorrow. I don't know what I'm going to learn next week. And I'm like, oh shit, or what they're going to learn next week. And, it was like, well, I don't do that. I'm not into that ever, not ever. Don't talk to me about that ever. That's just not something that I'm into. You know what I mean? So it's
Mm-hmm.
like, who am I now to block you from something? And I'm saying, and I love you, and I'm in this relationship with you, and I want to see what's best for you, and I want you to live your best life. But I'm going to be selfish and be like, well, you can't experience that thing that you've now discovered that you like or you want to try because of my ego, because I want to decide that, it's going to hurt me, so you can't enjoy it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So like what's the point of a relationship if two people can't, be in it and be themselves and be able to enjoy their life? They could have enjoyed
Mm-hmm.
that if they weren't in a relationship with you, but here they are now, and then now they're gonna stifle themselves. And I know some people are gonna be like, well, that's the whole point of a relationship, right? You're supposed to want to sacrifice aspects of yourself, or
Compromise.
things
That's
that
what I was gonna say.
the,
That
the
part,
compromise
sacrifice
thing.
versus
But
being
like,
selfish.
why? They're like, why? Like, why do? I mean, yes, it's a beautiful thing. It's a nice thing to think about, that. Oh, I'm giving up parts of myself because I love you. You know, I've never thought that was a beautiful thing. I mean, it's cute. It's nice in movies, but it's never been something that I'm like, oh, maybe it's just a selfish person. It's a selfish part of me. I've never operated that way. My relationship is I guess the monopoly thing that y'all were saying just a second ago.
Solo
That's
poly.
just how mine, yeah, yeah, solo poly.
Solo
Like
poly.
that's how mine is operating right now, and it's working fine for the both of us.
Mm-hmm.
Because and I'm the selfish one here, right? I like to taste and discover and dabble, and he's
You're a
fine with that.
man.
I'm a man. Yes, I'm a man. Yeah, there are people out there. So it's not there, and trust me, there are some men and women out there that are completely for the, yes, let me get married tomorrow to someone that I think is 100% for me, and I will never look at another person ever again in life. They exist. They do. I think they exist maybe like 2% of the population, but they exist. And that's why so many women, going back to your point, are single, because everybody is looking for that 2% man. All y'all deluding, oh, let me not say all. The vast majority of women out there are deluding themselves into thinking that the man that they're going to find tomorrow is that 2% man that wants them and only them for the rest of their lives. And what I
All right.
need a lot of women to, and a lot of people to understand, is that go out and explore. And even when you're in relationships, talk about it, because again, not everybody's going to give you everything that you need, and someone out there has that piece that you want.
Okay.
All right.
He
Dizzy.
said a lot. He said a lot.
Dizzy, I'm curious about what was your response?
I'm in the
Right.
opposite side. And the reason why is because I'm going back to the love of communication. If I'm able to be vulnerable and share everything that includes my likes, my kinks, because we also got to talk about that. There's certain things that
Mm-hmm.
I want to explore with you. And if you're not into that, how can you make amends and sacrifice my thought process of what I feel like I seek to make me be a better partner to you? So this is where we have to talk about the dynamic. Are you able to fulfill me on a way that I can't not explore or even bring the thought about, like, hey, this person, or even overhearing conversations with other couples, I hear that this can actually work. Can we try it out? And then you're not optimistic at all because you're not wanting to change what you already have. So that's where I come with the no, where are you able to sacrifice the thought, or are you willing to be selfish and just still do it? And that's when the conversation of the cheating comes in. You're stepping out without letting that person know, or are you gonna let them know and say, "Hey, I want to explore this. Would you want to explore with me? If not, can I still do?" But then we come back with the monogamy mindset. You cannot step out. You have to make sure that your temple or your situation that you have remains as what the rules are of being in a marriage, what the
So
Bible
it's like,
says, what the wedding vows are. So if the wedding vow says to sickness, to health, through good and bad, whatever it says, the details of the commitment of your vow, and there's something missing, what can we do to fix that? Are we gonna
Hmm.
do
I like that.
therapy, or are we going to explore, at least give it a chance and say that we did it? Or can we just not push it to the side because it's going to be an inkling thing in the mind, and then comes the overthinking. Why are we
Mm-hmm.
overthinking? Now all of a sudden, because my partner said no, my partner is going to be like, well, you mentioned this, are you still doing it? So this is where the level of communication comes in. I already expressed
mm,
to you that I'm going to sacrifice that thought process because that is not what you want. That is not that you feel like it's going to make our relationship even better. So I'm going to learn to sacrifice that and not be selfish and understand what I signed up for, because that's the main thing.
What better than me?
When you are dating and you're going with intentions and you're crossing off everything that's on your list, and then you forget like the missing piece, the blank that is open ended, the other. What is that other? Are you willing to even tap in and ask that question about the other, or you are gonna be oblivious, not even think about it, and believe that everything is okay? But when the man or the woman decides to be vulnerable and share, I like this. Can you fulfill that? And I say no. Is that gonna stop the relationship from growing? It can, but can I do something else? So that's where you come in and say, with the level of communication, if I can't fulfill that, what do you think I can do to make you at least reach a point that you don't have to think about that?
but
So
you're
the
saying the
woman
same
as
thing
well,
again.
no,
I was
because
going to
it's
say,
about
like,
sacrifices.
let me, no, I mean, like, you're saying, basically, the question is, can somebody 100% satisfy someone? So the answer is technically no, because you're still expecting that person to change things, learn things,
If
like,
you're willing
learn
to
the way I like
sacrifice,
things. So
no,
either way,
no.
it's
If you're willing to
compromising.
sacrifice it all, no. If you're willing to sacrifice it for love and put that to the side, it can work.
But
And
is
that's
that
what you
really
gotta
No, no,
fulfilling?
sacrifice.
but the person is not 100. The person is going to have to learn what you like and then start to
Hmm.
change themselves into that, which is a dangerous place to play, because then it's like
Mm-hmm.
that just brings a whole different type of relationship dynamic, if it works, if it doesn't work out, all that stuff. So I think, in just to summarize what both of you were saying, is that technically it doesn't really work, but what you're saying is more of like, you need to put in the work to make
Communication.
it work. Like, you don't have to be in an open relationship. We can work on the things that I like and you like, and see how we can blend it together, which I think is
Hmm.
ideal, right? But in a situation where, like, okay, maybe you like this specific type of kink, but she's like, nah, I ain't doing none of that. Like, I tried, but I don't like it. What then happens? Do you then have the conversation of like, okay, you know what? I know you don't like it. Is it okay if I do it outside with somebody else, so that there's no cheating, because that's something you like? Is that
Because
something
yes,
you would
because it's a
do?
binding
Yeah.
contract. But if the answer is no, do you want to stay in the relationship, or are you gonna sacrifice what you?
See,
And
I
and,
like
and
this
that's wild.
conversation.
Would you give
Yeah.
up your kink? Would you give up your kink?
That's a good
For
question.
love?
Would you give up your kink for love? Exactly. You like everything
Mm.
about this girl. She's amazing, but she doesn't
Hmm.
do that one thing, that one kink that you like,
Hmm.
and she doesn't want you to cheat, and she doesn't want you to be open. Are you willing
Hmm.
to sacrifice that kink for love?
For love, yes. For love, I can.
Okay.
For love, I can.
Okay.
April, can
Okay.
you give? Well, you're married. Can you give? Okay, let's, like, if you were, do you think you could do that too? Can you give up a kink for love? Do you think
I
you gave
say
up a kink for love? I don't know.
I would have to say no, because my thing is like, if there's a certain kink that you're used to or that you like, it's kind of like it's kind of like giving up on something that you necessarily don't have to. And because I was about to say it's kind of like giving up junk food, but then junk food is really bad for you. So that's a bad analogy. But it's kind of like if there's something that satisfies you, right, and you don't want to
Yeah.
give it up. That's how I like what Dizzy was saying about the communication, and that definitely segues to the next part about the communication gap, right? There's certain things that I feel like people are not 100 about when they share with their partner, and then they get into the relationship, and then them suppressing that part of themselves manifests in different ways because you start making choices to make up for that part that's missing in you. And I feel like kink falls into that, where certain people have kinks, and then they with their partner, and their partner's like, I ain't down for that, but they don't want to expose themselves. They don't want to be vulnerable with their partner and go saying, hey babe, I like this, can you fulfill it? They rather just cheat or find another way or go behind closed doors to fulfill that kink. So that's why I was like, no, I'm not gonna give up my kink to be in a relationship, because at the end of the day, my kink is a package. This is what I like, this is what comes with me. And I definitely had that.
Sorry, I was gonna say, so if your man don't like your kink, you're out.
Yeah.
Damn, that's cold-blooded.
Because why am I unsatisfying myself to be with somebody?
So I guess being
like
selfish
that doesn't make
important.
Yeah.
That part, yes, you can be selfish because this is something that makes you happy. And I'm telling you, like, it's like if you stop doing something that it is really no harm at all, right? It's something that pleases you, but you have to stop because somebody that you're dating doesn't want you to do it. And you can try, you can absolutely try to give it up. You can definitely try. But I'm telling you, a lot of times, and I see it out there in the post, Reddit, there's another one that's out there, I forgot the name of it, but these like you see it out there where people do suppress their kinks, and they're going on OnlyFans, they're going to a motel, they're doing this, they're doing that to fulfill that kink.
So you know what's funny? I feel like life does not have to be complicated. There are people that like kinks. Like, you know how they have dating apps? If your kink is, you like, give me a kink, any kink, bondage, right? Getting tied up and stuff. Is that a kink?
I'm about to say suck toes.
Okay. Yeah. Sucking toes. Sucking toes is better. All right, like, if your kink is sucking toes, someone needs to create an app for people that like sucking toes so that they cannot just go there. You know what I mean? And then remove you from all the other apps so that the rest of us can focus on each other. You know what I mean? So that then you don't come here with your toes and expect me to suck them. You know what I mean? I just feel like
those things are just
life
bonuses.
can be so easy, but every life is just complicated. Like,
yeah,
because that's great.
Life is so complicated because people want to hold on to people. That's why it's so complicated. That's what it comes down to. If everybody's just like, yo, listen, just go out, do what you want to do, just let me know about it before. Be safe. Don't treat me like no coffee. I have nobody calling my phone telling me, oh, your man was X, Y, and Z. Nah, I don't need none of that. If you tell me straight up from the beginning, let me make my decisions. Let me know what's going on.
But I feel like, okay, I feel like society, no, I was actually going to say the opposite. I feel like a lot of men are not given that freedom. So I feel like that's why we have a lot of men running around doing what they're doing, because exactly what you said, Kadeem. Like, if people, especially men, were given the platform to just be like, hey, this is what I want to do, and they don't feel like there's going to be a backlash or feel like, they're going to be name called or whatever the case may be, I think, the world will be a little bit a better place, because I think a lot of men will be way more open to the idea of like just saying what how they feel. And women, we need to allow men to have that, right? We need to give them that platform without being like, what the hell?
Because I wouldn't run into the population I run into, if their significant others, if their wives were at home, if they could express themselves. Let me not say 3/4. Let me not say 3/4. That's messy.
We gotta pull up on this one. Hold up, what?
Not 3/4. But it's like if more people were out there like comfortable enough telling their wives and stuff exactly what they wanted, you wouldn't have people like me out here not happy to oblige, because I don't mean like purposely going after
you admitting being a little Jezebel over here. Okay.
Yeah, but not on
I think
purpose. Not on purpose. I don't purposely go for the
I
island
just
just to get
feel
out.
that
Just for that.
if there was a mutual agreement between your partner of allowing things to happen with your sharing your vulnerability and exploring and giving it at least a chance, I feel like open relationship would not exist. I feel as well that there will be frustrations in conversations, even being present for each other will be limited because that conversation was pushed to the side and not brought up for flourishing or trying to
mm,
give it some avenue to let it grow a little bit. I'm not saying go fast and go to the finish line immediately, slow pace. Let's bring it down slowly and see if you are open to it because it's about safety, it's about vulnerability, it's about being comfortable with the idea. And your partner is the one that's going to teach you how to be comfortable in it because there is a conversation how to navigate through that thought process and be able to reduce the thought about oh that makes the man weak or the woman weak for stepping out and saying what they feel
Whoa! So
Yeah.
you
because the
you segue to
situation
another good
because
subject about gender roles in the dating world, right?
yeah
Uh-huh.
So we all know the masculine man, the feminine woman. We hear it all the time. The alpha male and all those things out there,
alpha woman.
and
Hmm.
alpha woman, yeah, and the beta man. Now that's a
We
new
don't
thing.
we don't
Like
hear alpha woman anywhere. Who
we,
says that? No
yeah,
one says that. Cut it out.
it could be a new thing here. Okay,
No.
she said alpha woman. She said it. Okay. But it seems like
Sorry,
the
really quickly.
yeah.
Alpha women don't want to be alpha women. They're forced to be
Ah,
alpha women, but they don't want to
Mm-hmm.
be
because
alpha women.
Mm,
no, because
that part. That part.
that's also a kink that maybe a man needs that says,
Are
can
you
you
talking
be a
about a
little bit more
dominatrix?
dominant?
The hobo
And
man.
with some,
That's what he
no,
wants.
no, because that's also part of the conversation. It could be something that the man is into, like he wants to be a little submissive to his woman. So he wants you to be dominant, and you're like, no, but I'm the submissive one. So the gender role really changes. Like, what do you mean by you want me to be dominant? Ask the guy, what
They're
exactly is it
basically
that?
basically a
yeah.
man that wants princess treatment. Boy, bye. Mm-mm.
No, but that's
But
that's
I
that's
don't think,
where but that's the
I
conversation. That's the
don't
conversation
think
that
is
is
that.
like
I don't think is that.
society is here now and it's like, what we thought was supposed to be happening is changing. And it's funny, right? Because if you remember from like the 90s, how, I feel like a lot of women were like, "Oh, a lot of women were like, oh, I want my man to be more in tune to my feelings and be more sensitive towards me and be more clean and do everything. And then we got Mr. Sexuals, and then most women were like, nah, hold on, wait a minute, y'all, maybe y'all took it a little too far, and then now, it's okay. Now men have really kind of stepped into this area that women are
Mm.
very uncomfortable in, right? Okay, like y'all have been fighting for equality, and y'all have been fighting that you want to prove yourselves that you can do what men can do. Okay, so then now, what's the issue that men are saying now? Okay, y'all prove now that you can do what we can do, or that you can exist in the same spaces and do the same things. So why can't we exist in the same spaces that you've traditionally been in? why can't
Okay,
we
so
why can't we take some of the pressure off of us a little bit to not be so hyper masculine all the time?
well,
You know what I
we
mean?
kind of do take the pressure off of you guys when once you give us a title that we're your girl. Once you marry us, we alleviate that pressure. That's where we come in. We do the nurturing. We make sure you're good when you come home. We cook. We do this. We do that. So at the beginning, yes, we want you to woo us. We want you to be the man. We want you to secure us, do what you gotta do, and provide, and all those things. But I am seeing now that men are like, well, I'm tired. Why don't you woo me and pursue me? Which
Yeah.
actually, there was this video that I saw, which brings up a good question, and I definitely want people to comment below as well. But this relationship expert was saying that ladies should bring a gift on the first date. And he said it
Oh, I
doesn't have
did
to
see
be
that.
anything
I did see that.
expensive or like not no Nikes and all those things. Like, because I definitely saw the comments where somebody was like, "Oh yeah, I bought him sneakers and he ghosted me." I'm like, girl, how long we got together before you want that man's sneakers? Like, what? But he was saying something cheap, like $50 or less, excuse me, and you bring it as a gesture to the man to show like you're interested and you appreciate that you're having this date. Like, what is everybody's thoughts on that? Like, ladies should be
I do
gifting
that.
men on the first date.
I do it.
Okay.
I gift,
I think it's
but I
so.
don't do it on the first date. I gift, but not on the
Mm.
first date.
No,
I
I
think
think
Like, so
it's
you're
usually
doing
I
it like
don't
the
have a
second or third date, or
yeah, more like so. For instance, I think I've done it a few times, and like it's always more of if they invited me to something, dinner doesn't count for me, but like if it was something more like, let's say they invited me to like a Broadway show, or they invited me to like something in particular, like that maybe through conversation they thought I liked, I usually would just get them something
hmm
just kind of to say thank you. There's this guy, like I think he liked cigars, so there's a cigar shop that's really good. I got him a couple of cigars just to say, oh, thanks for the thought, like you knew I really wanted to go to this thing, so here.
Hmm.
Like I've done
Oh,
that. I think it's a nice gesture. I mean,
I
but
personally, I
yeah.
never done it. I've never
I
done it.
I have received a gift and it was very kind because it was something about I like ice cream sandwiches. And out of nowhere, the person I was dating bought me ice cream sandwiches. I was like, oh, that's very thoughtful. And then the person said, oh, it's because I know you like ice cream sandwiches, so I bought
Exactly.
you a box of ice cream
Exactly.
sandwiches.
Yeah, it
I
shows
think
that
I
they're
think
actively
I think a
listening.
good
hmm
exactly. I was gonna say I think a lot of times the gifts is not because I just want to get you a gift. It's usually we've had conversations, we've talked,
Yeah, it's
I
not the
kind
base
of
of the
know what you
conversation.
like, so I would surprise you with something nice, kind of like that. But yeah, it's just a thought,
Hmm.
I guess. Not like it meant anything because here I am still not married. So, and he's not with that girl either. So, hey, what was the point? Is she
It does.
April never get a gift, never gave a gift, and look at her married with a ring. Listen, maybe we should forget the gift thing. Maybe it doesn't work. Maybe it's not a good thing.
No, but
Well,
like,
I just think I don't know.
I mean, that makes sense. That it makes sense. I watched this documentary once upon a time. It was like this woman. She was like a sociologist or something. She's a lesbian. But she was like kind of like a masculine presenting one. So she did makeup and put on a beard and blah 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 and lived her life for like a year and a half as a man, right? And long story short, she ended up going into severe depression and killing herself. And
Oh,
the reason, because she had given an interview, like through all of this and what was going on, and she said it's very difficult to live as a man in this society. And it was interesting because like people don't like because she was a woman, you know, on living her life as a man. So she's trying to date, she's trying to, go up to women in clubs or like at a restaurant and she's trying to talk to them. And she's like 9 times out of 10, she was met with such like um what's the word? Like not vitriol, but just like
rejection.
animosity. Yeah,
Oh,
rejection and animosity and all this stuff just from the women, just for simply existing, right? Like in their space. A lot of the times, like that's the energy that a lot of men get, And I want to say that, and this was in the '90s or early 2000s, excuse me. Um, and not for nothing, I want to say like I'm not a straight man, so I don't go after women. I don't know how the dynamic of that is. Um, but I want to feel like if anything, it's been getting worse and worse, right? Because well, worse in terms of for the men, right? Because you have women
disagree.
stepping
It's
into their
getting better actually because men are starting to show emotion, and I think a lot of men now because of rejection, like before, women always thought, "Oh, I just rejected, like I don't want to talk to you." But now men don't even approach women. Men are being more vocal and saying that I don't like the rejection either. So why am I going to approach her? Like, you know what I mean? They're
mhm.
more calculated on how they approach women from conversations I've had. Like no
exactly,
one
but
wants
y'all don't like the
so it's
calculativeness,
opened their
right?
mind to like I think in today's society, the softness of men, which is really more men being vulnerable, right? Men are
And y'all don't
starting to
like
be
it.
more vulnerable. Not that we don't
Who
like it.
don't like
I
it?
think so. I think we do like a man to be vulnerable, to be outspoken, just talk about it versus acting on something and we can't tell why you're acting a certain way. I think that's where the maybe that miscommunication happens. Be vulnerable, just talk about it with the person you're with.
I mean, I get your point. I just don't think that. me personally, just like looking at it, just from like outside looking in nowadays, I just feel like yes, women have been on that this stage now where they're like, okay, like I'm getting my own, I don't need you for shit, right? So it doesn't necessarily give a man, a lot of confidence to come up and talk to you, especially, like when you're with your girls or you're out in public and you're just like, ew, get the hell away from me. You know what I mean? It takes I feel like it takes so much courage for a man to come up and speak to a woman and just know that 9 times out of 10, they're going to get a rejection, right? And then maybe 6 times out of those 9 times, it's going to be a violent rejection at that. This is like, how dare you even speak to me? Where do you get the confidence to come up and do this? That thing. So like, I say all of that to say that the how men have to live nowadays,
Mm.
in when they're trying to find a woman out there, it's hard for them. And the women don't necessarily think about that because y'all are too busy having these conversations about the bear or the woods, right? Or what was it?
So
Do you pick the bear or the
You pick the bear
whatever
over the man, but I
or
mean,
over the man,
at the
can
same
right?
I
And
time,
can
y'all
I
out here,
well,
y'all out here with your whole chest. A lot of women out here with their whole chest, like
because
I will pick
men
the
are
bear
out
any day.
here
It makes
unprovoked
sense.
attacking women when they're told
no no
no.
no.
I mean, they're
Can I
two
say
distinct
can I say
perspectives. They're two distinct
can I
perspectives.
jump in really quickly? I
Mm-hmm.
think Kadeem, I kind of see where you're coming from. So back in the day, right? I used to when I was in my 20s, maybe, and work, making money, whatever. I remember I used to be so nervous, not nervous, but like I didn't want to like buy a new car or buy a house. Like I always thought like I'll do that in marriage with my husband, right? Because it's like a lot of times people would say like you don't want to be too if you have everything, then a man will be scared to come meet you. So I think a lot of women are always scared of like reaching that peak and not being married yet. But I think I overcame that and I was just like, you know what, at the end of the day, I can't be leaving for no man that is not even here yet. And as women get older, you start making more money, you start making smarter financial decisions. But at the same time, a man cannot continue to be scared, right? He has to be able to like I feel like we're
Level up.
all leveling up together. So if you see a woman that's leveled up, it's not for you to be intimidated by her, but for you to like, even if you don't have what she has, right? But like you come in with like, oh, you know what? I'm still gonna make you comfortable. It's almost like that conversation of like a woman making more than a husband, and people feel like, oh, she's gonna undermine you, she's gonna make you. That's not true. You can still have just because you make less than her does not mean you can't court her. Does not mean you can't date her. Does not mean you can't do nice things for her because she makes more money.
That's not what
You can
y'all are
go.
saying all over the internet, hun.
Well,
That's
I'm
not
just
what
saying.
y'all are saying all over. But what I'm
Well,
saying is
yeah,
perception,
no,
right?
he's
It's
right. It's because
perception.
it's like
So
it's both side of the coins are very steeped in the, and I'm gonna say it's stereotypes of gender roles. Like how a man is supposed to be and how a woman is supposed to be. And oftentimes, a lot of women are out here. They want their man to be a certain type of way. They want their man to be masculine, things of that nature. And men do fall into that trap. So when there's a woman that's making more than them, it does pluck at their ego because it's like, all right, we're told to provide all the time. So if you're already providing for yourself, what can I do? Because, going back to what he was saying about nature is naturally, it's in men nature to feel needed. And if they don't feel needed, it's kind of like, well, I'm going to go elsewhere. What am I here for?
let me
But
find a 20-year-old
there's
year
a,
old that needs me.
yeah. But here's the thing, though, back to the gender roles thing. There's other things that men can fulfill that, is not tapped into because they're told to stay in this specific lane, in this specific role of a man. But there's other ways they could step up and be there for a woman. But I could also say that women are also stubborn too, and where there's like, well, this is what I want. This is what I was told that I should want and how a man should be. So why should I see anything else?
Yeah,
So
and
it's
then
kind of
nowadays
Wait,
you have your platforms.
wait.
well,
The issue I have the issue I have with a lot of conversations just in general is always generalization. Like I feel like there's always going to be different types of women, always different types of men with different mindsets. So it's like if I say something, like there's going to be the other group that's like, "Nah, that's not true." Like it's hard to
mm,
generalize these conversations around dating or around relationships because there's just so many different types of people out there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but like
Like
the
yeah.
vast,
so
but like
so
how
like
the what you see. Oh, sorry. Continue. I'm sorry.
no, no, no. I was just saying, like, so generalization is very hard. So, like, most times I can only speak for what I think and what I think is would be ideal in my head, right? But I think it's very hard to have conversations like this because there's just so many different types of people that relates to
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
different types of behaviors, right?
Right,
But I
right.
just feel
Because
like
there are some
overall
women.
though,
Mhm.
yeah, I just feel like overall though, like as a culture, like where we're moving to, or where it has been moved, over the past like, say 10 years or so, is just like, yeah, if you're not making X amount of money, right? Because like, things like TikTok, Instagram, all that stuff has comes out now, right? So everybody is like in your business all the time. Everybody's trying to clock how much money you have, how nice of a place you have, how this your clothes, all of that. That's all stuff that we've always been doing. But now that we're so clued in to everybody's shit all the time, right? And the celebrity culture and the capitalist culture that we do live in, and it's like, all right, make money, make money, make money. So it's like, all right, if you come around me and you're not established, you're not making X amount of money, your clothes aren't Balenciaga or some shit, or whatever the case is. If you don't outwardly look like you can level me up immediately, no one wants to put the work in anymore. That working thing, work on yourself first before you even have the audacity to come to me. And there's nothing wrong with that at all, right?
Mm.
You know,
But but it's just like a
it's a
different
whole
kind of
thing.
pressure.
Yeah, it's a whole
Hmm?
thing because even I have friends that are on dating apps, right? And they tell me that like now men just want to be texting. They don't even want to meet up. It's like it's almost like they want to like just start the conversation through text, fall in love through text, and you're like, are we gonna go to dinner? Like, what are we doing? But like people don't want to put in effort anymore. It could be because maybe like they've done it in the past. They're just tired. Or like went on so many dates, spent all this money,
It's
still ended up single.
expensive.
So what?
Dating is
Exactly.
expensive.
So
Hmm.
I understand. I'm not. I was looking at you like, wait, what? That's happening, but it makes sense.
yeah, people are tired of dating. If you notice, a lot of people are like just not for dating apps anymore, and people are going back into like organic, like go to happy hour,
Mm-hmm.
go outside, meet somebody organically, talk to them in person, because it's like that era has just become so lazy. You know, there are men that just do right, 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 and then have two conversations and
Yeah.
stop talking. You know, like things are going back into the way things were previously, in my opinion. It's
But
crazy.
when you have so many
Yeah.
choices, so many options, that's what men are gonna
Yeah.
do. They're gonna be like, well, shit, there's like 100 women in here. I just swipe through. That this one look good.
And then
Open the
people
door
are
like
trying
X of
to
this.
experience new things.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
And the dating apps give you so, like you said, so many options. It's open you up to so many different things and things of that nature. And then on top of that, you have so many people. You're talking to like 6 people at once. Sometimes I don't know if this ever happened to you. I could be texting and then you forget to hit send, and they're like, "Dang, why this person didn't hit me back?" Oh shoot, the message I was typing is still sitting there after 2 weeks.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
it's a lot. It's definitely is a lot. But then you're okay. So you're talking, you're getting to know this person, and then you hit the talking phase, right? And it's like, okay, finally left the app, left the chat. We went on a date. I'm getting good vibes. We're feeling good. Okay, now we're exclusive, right? And we're talking. And how long are we going to be talking? Because now people are saying there's a timeline, as like Miss New York saying, she's like, I'm ready for my eggs to be cracked, to be scrambled. I'm ready to drop my last name. Like women have a natural timeline, right? And then men are just like, I'm just here for a good time. So
You know
like
what? I think
what's acceptable timeline?
I think dating as an
For a
adult
triangle?
woman is one of wait, wait, wait. I think dating as an adult woman is one of the hardest things because every man you meet automatically thinks you want to get married and you want to have their babies. Every single man. It's almost like I don't even know you. What makes you think you're good enough to be my husband? You know what I mean? But just because you're
Mm-hmm.
in your 30s, she gonna rush me. So automatically I feel like they tell you, oh, I'm not looking for anything serious, just to kind of create that gap. You know what I mean? Don't push me into marriage.
Mm.
But
Okay.
I
Okay, I
think
can see that.
I yeah, I personally have never really had like timelines. To me, it's just I need to find the right person. Once I meet the right person who like we're in love, I love this person, I know this is my person, we can speed race through everything else. I don't care. But I just feel like the goal for me is more of like finding my person. You know what I mean? I think
Mm.
to me that's what's important more than anything else because I don't want to raise kids with the wrong person. I don't want to have to go through a divorce. Like to me, it's more of I found somebody I can connect with. When that
Right.
happens, then we could be like timeline, let's go. But right now,
Uh,
I don't. You know,
but,
Dizzy, what's yours?
No, because I was going back to like, are we talking about the timeline for a title in the dating, or is
well,
it
Time
yeah,
timeline for title, dating, marriage. Like
even
for you, what is it? Because you're also of the same age group. So like,
so?
as a
I
man, do
was,
you feel like you have timelines?
I think a man knows when she is the one when they can be vulnerable with them. If the man cannot
Mm.
be vulnerable with the woman where nothing is being questioned, nothing is giving a bad approach about, um, since we're talking about masculinity or a level of the way their finances are working or a level of how they see their future, and it's not questioned to where the response is, I would say the response of the person would be, no, I'm not capable of fulfilling that. The man knows. So I would say for me, it takes me about 6 months to a year to know where am I at with that person. Because there's levels of things that people don't focus on when they're dating, which is the number one thing is the level of communication. Why are we arguing already by the first month? And we cannot even get through dinner figuring out what we're gonna eat. If I say I like mashed potatoes and you like rice, what's wrong with me just eating mashed potato and you eat rice? Why can't we be different? Why do we have to align to what the image of a relationship is instead of just aligning to who you are as a person, who you can be around that person, and be present for the other and interchange of what their needs are? So by 6 months to a year, I know where I'm at.
For a man to be, for a woman to be, for a man and a woman to be vulnerable to each other, communication has to be had, and it's not only
mm-hmm.
when you go on dates, right? It's not only like, oh, let's go for dinner, then we'll talk for an hour and then go home. You're right. It has to be like constant phone calls, constant talking. Do you feel like in the adult life, like in your 30s, where you're busy with work, with home, kids, whatever, like where do you have that time to actually build that kind of foundation to for vulnerability to then show up?
I don't
When the man decides to stop what he's doing and make it about you.
Mm.
Like it
If you
puts you
see that
first.
the putting the person first or prioritizing, um,
Mm.
it's delicate for many cases. Like me, I'm a man with children, so I come with a it's like a triple threat in a way. Like I gotta focus on my kids first. At the end of the day, any person that I'm dating with knows that I have to put my kids first, no matter what. Anything happens to my kids, I'm sorry, I gotta let you go. I gotta hang up. I gotta make sure my kids are good. So if the person I'm dating does not allow me to prioritize that doesn't mean I'm not prioritizing you. It doesn't mean that I can't get 30 minutes to check in on somebody real quick
But
and then
30
come back
minutes is
to you.
not enough time for vulnerable conversations. Like, like most times these conversations come out when you're having like 1 2 hour conversations, then you guys going deeper and deeper and deeper.
Hmm.
So it's like, when
Right.
does that happen? When you're an adult, you have work, you got to pick up the kids, you got to come home, they got to cook for the, like, when do you have that time? Do you ever get that time? And even when you're not with the kids, like, you probably have all these errands you need to run because you've been with the kids all through. So it's like, is there actually room in your adult life, not just you, just in general, like where you have to do it? Like even me, I'm not married, but like I got gym, I got work, I got side hustles, blah blah. Like when is the time for that vulnerable? Is it harder in your adult life, I guess, to find time to be vulnerable with someone?
Yes, it is
Yes.
harder. Based on my case, it is
Mm-hmm.
harder. It is
So
harder.
then
But
do you think,
but
It's just anybody.
I'm not saying
so
that
then how is connection supposed to be made?
That's where the effort comes
making
in, right?
efforts and
Or you have
sacrifices.
to
Mm-hmm.
give up something, right?
Yeah, efforts and
Yeah.
You give,
sacrifices.
so
That's
what
what
would
it
you
Yeah.
is.
give up? Like what are you willing to give up to create that time to get to know someone in that depth?
I'm putting a little bit of perspective in my downtime. I enjoy watching TV. After I'm done with my whole day, like that's my time to really relax and just like
Mhm.
decompress and disconnect from everybody. But I'm realizing that by 7 p.m., I'm already tired. Work, I deal with my children, and then by 7 p.m., I just want to relax. But that's the sacrifice that comes in order for me to have that downtime. When am I ever going to do it? I have to sacrifice my downtime to ensure that now that my downtime will be with that person eventually in the future. So might as well practice it now what that looks like. So am
Or
I
do
going to
you
be
think
able
you're
to
gonna
do?
start neglecting her because now you're not resting?
No, because in perspective, you got to put it in like when I come home, I'm going to see my wife. So once I come home, it's my downtime, but I'm spending it now with her. So what does that look
Mm,
like? You practice it now. What is vulnerability together? After I'm done tired from work
Mm,
and everything else, I might as well
yeah.
practice it now and understand what the level of communication is going to look like. When I am tired, I did everything. How am I going to communicate with the person? Am I going to be a grumpy person or am I going to be delighted to see this person? So those
Yeah.
are the
I think a lot of
sacrifices
people
that you have
miss
to do.
those aspect when it's like getting to know the person, right? It's like, okay, you're getting to know them, and it's beyond the whole what's your favorite color, what's your favorite
Yeah. Like,
movie.
hmm
It's beyond that. It's kind of like, like you mentioned, like, okay, when you're upset, how are you when you're upset? Or as everybody's starting to poke fun at the whole going to therapy thing now. It's kind of like, okay, do you have mama issues? Yeah, daddy issues? Like, where's your trauma and stuff like that? Like, what's going on? And but as funny as that is, it's real conversations that you have to have because there's so many different phases in dating and relationship to lead up to marriage, and the marriage is the ultimate test, right? Because now you're living with with each other. You have this contract of like to death to us part and things of that nature, and oftentimes that's where it hits the fan where we're like, oh my god, who the heck did I marry? Like, I didn't see this when we was talking. I didn't see this when we was dating. Like, you like this? You fart in your sleep? Like you find out all these little things that you're just like, do I know you? Or was I really just blinded by the ring because I'm just so focused to just get to the altar because my natural timeline, right? My timeline of like, I gotta get married, I gotta have kids, I gotta be somewhere in life.
yeah.
So it's kind of like,
it's
how do
thinking
you
about,
know that this
yeah,
person is the one if you're saying you're busy, you don't have that time to commit to really getting to know the person? It's like,
mm-hmm.
how do you know?
Because you gotta show interest in order to build momentum. So if you really
Mm.
don't put those two things together, the conversation is gonna be more limited. Your time is gonna be more limited. You're gonna be distracted more about other things that are not important, but since you already see that this is not going anywhere, a man knows when this is not going anywhere. Conversation is limited. So
Sheesh.
especially for women, women are very cutthroat too. Women are
I'm
very
sorry.
cutthroat.
I'm over here self-reflecting, so I'm just chuckling to myself. Don't mind me. Don't mind me at
So
all.
Like, do
I mean,
I
I'm sitting here like,
do
ooh, this sounds
that?
familiar, but I'm not even going to talk about my own
and the
internal
thing
shit right now.
about
So
it,
I'm just be over here chuckling to myself
but it's
because
But
I
I
know
it's
Tyler's
agree.
not
funny.
I
doing
think
all of that.
women. I think I agree, Dixon. I think women, we know. Like, I could, after the second date, I already know if I want to continue or not. I might choose to just stay just because I'm like, you know what, entertainment.
Because you're on the
But a lot of
possibility, like
times,
maybe you're on the possibility, like, oh, let me just give it one more day, because probably it can change.
hopeful,
You're in the hopeful
hopeful.
stage. But if you know,
Yeah.
you know, just cut the
Most times I
umbilical
know.
cord.
I just be like, maybe. What if?
It's
You
the
know
hope.
what?
You're stuck on the hope because you're stuck on the mindset is like, do I want to do this again? So do I sacrifice my happiness to continue with this person because I want to fulfill the image that I haven't gotten yet and I see everybody else is doing it? Or
Mm.
am I gonna really put down like if I end up being single, let me accept the fact that I am my own person. I might be a lot for somebody else, but there's somebody that will accept me for who I am. So it is
Or
the
I'm bored.
or you're
I'm
bored.
Listen,
bored and need company. April's like, oh, Mo,
Or if you're bored, then that's a,
yeah, my life.
then we
the
gotta
only thing I can
evaluate.
say is that like I know
I don't
that
think you're
like
alone in that, Mo. I don't think you're alone. I think a lot
no,
of people
you're
out
not.
there
A
be
lot of
bored.
people are like that. I'm
They be
bored or just like,
bored, but don't want to admit it.
I could say for me,
But
I could
if
say for
you're
me that
bored,
like I get
hold on.
comfortable.
If you're bored, then it's revisiting the conversation about would you keep it open so somebody can entertain the piece that's missing, and then you're still with that relationship because you know for a fact that person brings X, Y, and Z but it's missing one little thing. So why are you bored? Why
She's
aren't
not
you
gonna
just
do
No, it's
that.
not
available?
what. It's not. No.
She's not gonna
Mm-mm.
do that. I don't know where my finger's pointing. Just make sure you know the one with the braids is not doing that. Okay?
No, I would not.
Nah.
I'm not doing that now. No, but don't
Nah.
don't don't pay me as vanilla out here. Okay, listen. Okay, listen. I understand open relationships work, and I
Hmm.
do not think I'm
It's
open
not for
to
you.
doing it.
Yeah. So that's why I
Yeah,
can
You
yeah.
don't
say with
have to
my
be
whole
I
chest
can
bored.
what I
I
just
could
said.
hear
It's not
I
for
could hear
you.
someone out.
Yeah. You can hear that it's not for you, and that's fine. Like that's fine. It's not a slight. It's not a slight in the least. It's not something that gels with you and your personality, and that is
Nah,
quite
that
all
is
My
right.
funny. She's like,
culture.
I'm not
And your
open, but I'm
culture.
open to hear you.
Yeah. Just so I can tell you in 2 seconds that nah,
You know, let me
you
just
can
think
change
about
for
it.
me or get
Let
out.
me. Should I tell you the honest truth about open relationships for a lot of women? I feel not a lot of women, for some women. I think that it's a kind of warm that I would not want to open. Like, what if I do it and like I'm like, oh,
And you regret it,
I
or
come
you're
home
enjoying
and
it.
I love it.
Okay.
Yes, because think
Hmm.
about
What's wrong
it.
with
It's
that?
almost like a
Then she have
liberation
to
that like,
consider the type of woman she is now. That's
thank
what it
you.
is. You're like, oh,
I feel feeling like,
what would your
it's
African mother
morally
call you?
wrong.
What would your African mother call you? What do they call those girls?
I shower, I shower. Oh,
Hmm.
technically.
Yeah. So yeah.
Nah, but in
A
reality, I
lot
feel
of
like
times it's shame.
a lot of women that are like very modest or very whatever, they've just never thought or probably opened. They've probably thought about it, but just would not open that kind of warmth because it's like now you're telling me I could go be with anybody and it doesn't matter because we're used to like alpha males, right? We're used to men who are like it's me and you, like you're not dating outside. And now I'm with a guy who's telling me I could go and I do it and I like it.
Most
I
men
don't
are
know.
still
Like,
like
what if
that.
I enjoy it
Don't
so
get it
much and now
twisted.
I can't stop? Huh?
Don't get it twisted. Don't get it twisted. Most men are still like that. Most men don't want you looking nowhere else, don't want you turning your head nowhere else. They want you to be theirs. But they still want
But
to be able to turn their
they wanna
heads.
be
Of
open.
course,
Mm-hmm.
that is the nature of a man, right? We're still gonna
But
come back
open
to that at
Selfish.
the
relationship
end of the day.
but open
That's the nature of
relationship
the
has
man.
to be both.
Right. But most of the men out here don't want that. Okay? You ran to unicorns in this conversation because that's just what we are. That's the type of, that's just how we are, right? Age of Aquarius is working hella heavy over here,
Yeah, it's hard
right?
to find a man that can
Yeah.
actually understand compersion.
Yeah. Most men don't want none of that. They want your mind and that's it. You don't get to look nowhere else, no nothing. Me, on the other
Oh,
hand, yeah, I can
mm,
look, I can maybe touch, I can blah blah blah, and I'll come tell you about it if you decide, we can let's be comfortable and be vulnerable, and this is what I want to do, but they're still not gonna accept you. That's just the
yeah.
nature of how a lot of men are. And vice versa, that's just how the nature of a lot of women out here are. Y'all don't want your men to be vulnerable 3/4 of the time. You don't want a man to come and tell you exactly what he wants and how he likes it because what's that going to tell you about yourself or
It
how
becomes
is
an
that going to affect your
That's
ego?
overthinking.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's not
it's
I
you know what I
know.
ego.
mean. So
I've
It's
like,
heard women say
overthinking.
that, especially
yeah,
when it comes to men and the whole. By the way, real quick, definition of compersion is somebody that enjoys to watch their partner um be pleased by other people. So just in case
Like
anybody didn't know
like
the
like
definition
I
that
of
was
that
a
word.
word I did not know.
wait,
Okay,
Oh, you
wait,
didn't
wait,
know?
wait.
I didn't know that
Yes,
word.
that's the
No,
word.
April, so
What's the
I'm
word?
Yes,
sitting
yes.
down I'm sitting down in the room and my
Uh-huh.
man on this couch with another woman getting pleased and I'm sitting and I'm watching. That's
Yeah,
what
and
it
you're
it's
is.
getting
not for
pleasure out of that.
everybody.
You're getting
Trust me,
pleasure out
that's
of
not
it.
for
And
everybody.
you feel pleased by that. Like there are
Yeah,
some people that yes, they don't mind watching their partner interact with another person and they're like, "Ooh, yes, that's hot. Like look at my babe. Ooh, yeah,
Hmm.
it turns
yeah,
people on. It is a thing.
because
It's a
you know
kink.
what it is.
It's a
It's
Not
like
what
kink."
you do to me.
yeah,
Is
no,
that what you
because
do
it's
to
like
me?
it's kind of like you love the person, right? And I feel like some people, i.e. me, might think it's like the ultimate form of like you showing you care for a person, right? Because it's like no matter what, like their pleasure and their experience is paramount to like your whatever jealousy you might have felt in that moment. If you're like, you're not gonna feel jealousy if you're a compounding person or whatever that word was.
You know
You're not
the
gonna
you
feel
know
it.
the
Compersion,
But
yeah. It's also
yeah,
just
you know
feeling
the
joy for other people, right? It's
yeah,
you know
that
the
too. But
only time
oftentimes this word is used in the lifestyle when they're like, they want to watch their partner interact with somebody else.
You know, the only time I can see this acceptable is like if your man does some like Hall of Fame type move and you're like, yo, I need somebody else to see what I just went through. And then I'm like, all right, let me just make sure I'm not crazy. Okay, I see the way she did. But besides, I'm not sitting down here watching my man. Nah, nope.
Even
not
in that
banging another
scenario, you're
woman.
not doing it.
Nah.
That the thought would have crossed your mind for like a split second, but like, I wonder how this shit look as a third person. But you would never
I'm like,
never
damn, he
bring it
did
up.
what? I don't know. Yeah,
Yeah,
maybe not.
you would
I don't
never.
know.
It's a nice thought sometimes, a nice little
That's
freaky
the
thought,
only.
but
That's
like,
the only.
yeah.
That's the only. That's the
But
only way.
it goes to like the also to see it also leads to what Dizzy was saying about the overthinking, right? Because then it's like, all right, you want to be with another woman, what does that mean? I'm not enough? Or it's like, oh, you want in the butt, so you undercover brother? Like, it's like these things come to mind from, and especially women, we're guilty because I've seen so many chats of like this conversation come up where a man was like, oh, I want to ask my girl to peg me, and I don't know how she feels, and then women are like,
what's pegging?
Well, pegging is when well, usually towards a man, but it's when a woman takes a toy or a strap-on and she enters the man through his anal cavity. Don't get it twisted. I heard that it could lead to like crazy orgasms for men because there's a like a G-spot in there for men. Yeah, a G-spot in the anal cavity for men, and hit just right, just like women. Fireworks.
I have a question. If a woman pegs a man, is the guy gay or straight?
No,
he's still straight.
He's straight because that's
because it was a woman who did it.
Yes, it's
no one's saying that this man automatically now has affections towards other men or anything. That's what gay means. He got to actually like another man. He got to actually want to be in a relationship and want to kiss him and hug him and all that stuff. Like, people need to understand, like, or at least in my head, right? Sex and emotions
are two separate things.
Two different things. They can interact, right? They can be compounded together, but they're two separate entities. Okay? Because you could love someone over here and hate to have sex with them. You could love to have sex with someone and hate their very being.
Okay? To be with them. Yeah.
Not even to be with them, to be around them, to speak to them, to anything. You could absolutely hate them. You could think someone is
did you
vile.
just call it demon dick? That's what you just said.
I don't think anyone said that.
No, nobody said that. Nobody said that.
Kadeem, you're right. You're right. Because I just looked up the definition of gay just to like, and it says sexually or romantically attracted exclusively to people of same gender.
Yeah.
So if a woman's pegging you, it's not necessarily the insertion that makes you gay. It's the attraction to the same sex that makes you gay.
Exactly.
So that's the thing. But that's what we say. Like, oftentimes people, both men and women, blur that line and go, oh, once a man wants to be pegged or a toy used on him, that means he's for the gay community. He's gay. Like, that's it. Like, he's about to go around and start asking men to dig in his booty hole. And it's like, no, like that's not the case at all, especially if he's asking for a woman to do it. But people just can't let that idea go. And I feel there's a lot of men out there that are losing out on some great orgasms because of this dynamic of men being gay if they want to be pleased through the back door. And I mean specifically pleased by women. There are some down low men out there, but there's a distinction, right? Like, there's a clear distinction. If this man is asking for his woman or women to just perform a sexual act for him, that is it. Why are you questioning or saying he's about to go down the rainbow road? Like, I don't understand.
No, you're right. I think even I always thought that too. Like, if you have sex with a man, or like if a dildo goes in you as a man, you're gay. But I guess it's not the case because it's a woman who's doing it. So you're not attracted to a man sexually.
I mean, it gets very blurry. It gets very blurry when it's like you like this one particular sexual thing and you make a man do it.
Sexual act of a man done by a woman.
Like this. No. What I'm saying is it can get tricky. it can get tricky if you like, say you like anal, right? But you're still not attracted to men, but you have a man do it,
Wait, are you
because
talking about a
again,
man or a woman?
a man, like, so if a man, like, remember I was saying, sex and emotions exist, I would say parallel, but separately, right? So like in my head, you could still be a straight man and you want to have, butt stuff done or whatever. You can still, like, if you do it with a man, it gets a little dicey, right? Because like if he does it with a man, he can still technically not be attracted to that man in any way, shape, or form. You don't want to have nothing to do with
Yeah.
him. He's just there for a service, right? Now, schools of thought would be, all right, that man is gay because he just went and did it with another man. But not necessarily. If he can't find a woman to do it, and it's a specific thing that he wants done,
And a man
he
does
can
it.
still be,
The,
yeah, he
the
can still
moment the
be
moment a man
straight.
does it is gay. The moment a man does it is gay.
I mean,
The moment a
I
man
And
would
does
say
kind
it
of
that.
to do
that's
it,
what I
it's
kept quiet. I was
gay.
like,
I would say that. I
that's where
would
it
say
definitely
that.
gets
I
blurry.
would
I
say that.
hear what you're saying. I definitely hear what
Yeah,
you're saying, but that's where it definitely gets a
yeah.
little blurry.
But
I
more the
can't
point.
defend that one because now you're on the fence of being, are you bi or you gay? Where you at?
Same
So
to
it's
me. It doesn't
like
matter.
that's a very shaky fence you're sitting on with that one. So, but you know what?
In an
Love shouldn't be this complicated anyway.
to wrap up, right? I just wanted to ask everybody a question. In a fantasy world, right? Not your current situation, whatever. Fantasy world. Which of the three do you think should be normalized? Monogamy, open relationship, or poly? In a like what? Which one do you if
Poly,
you were to pick one?
Polly.
poly, poly.
I
What would you
can't
pick,
handle
Daisy?
I can't handle more than one person in a relationship, so I will keep it open.
But
So you
remember,
can
you
still.
can just deal with that one.
Yeah,
You could
that's why I
you could
said poly
choose to
because poly
just deal with
encompass
that one.
everything, even with the open relationship. Poly encompass everything. There's something for everybody within poly, right? Because poly is a big word, and like going back to what we were saying, there's monopoly, there's solo poly, there's
Oh,
hierarchical poly, which is like
no,
you have
no. Let's
multiple
not. You're too
No, no, no.
much.
I'm not.
Poly
I'm no,
is
no, no,
getting
no, no. I'm
married.
just saying that there's a lot where anybody could find there's something that works for their relationship. So that's why
You're
I'll be
saying
open to
I
poly.
was saying poly in the sense of you multiple people like marrying each other, loving each other, like poly. That's what I'm referring to.
Really
Just that
makes. I
Oh,
think
then
definition
that
I'll
makes
say
alone.
more
poly.
sense.
Then I'll
Oh,
say
okay.
poly.
I think that makes more sense because the village structure just works better.
It
You
does.
know,
Village
it's more
structure,
support. Yeah, there's more support. There's more support for your kids if you have
and less
kids.
fighting because now
Less
everybody's on the
fighting.
same page.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm.
Everybody's on the same page.
I'll say in a fantasy world, perfect world, I guess I would say poly.
yeah,
Poly,
and more
yeah.
Mine
variety.
is
So yeah.
monogamy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
You
she
said
Well,
still
we
want to
be
go
over
back to
here
the.
in the
She
poly
want to go back
land.
to the struggle. She want to struggle. She want to sacrifice,
She
and that's
has
completely
hope,
fine.
okay? Let my
And
girl
that's
believe
fine.
But
and hope.
I like to be with my man Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I don't want one day of the week.
She said,
Okay,
"My man." See, you say that now until you get married, and then you're like,
that's what I'm
"Get
saying. It's
out."
like then he gonna be sharing anyway. Like you go. You know what I mean? That's
He
still a
doesn't have
thing.
to.
He don't
Maybe
have
he's the
to.
2%.
Maybe he's a two
no,
percent. You're
maybe
right.
it's the
You're right.
level. No, it could be the level of jealousy that you have to control because you have to
No.
separate that
We
too.
just say we putting that hope out there for her that she's gonna be the lucky one that finds that 2% that wanna be best friends with her and
Well,
want
I
her cat
did.
only for the rest of the life. Well, yes, you did. You're a very fucking special case, and you know that. So calm down, all the way down, because
I don't have this
you
exclusive with me,
know,
sir.
you know that yours, like literally your relationship is probably something that I aspire to, right?
Aww.
Oh,
No, literally, if you think about it, you've married your best friend. You know what I mean?
mm-hmm.
You've I'm not gonna sit here and talk your business because I don't know how much you've been talking here, but just know that like how you've worked the structure of your relationship and how you've brought your man along and
I
how
agree.
he has come along, and the work that y'all have put in. Like, yeah, that to me
The way they
is as
communicate.
close. Yes, is as close
Aw.
to a perfect relationship, or how
Ooh,
I
that's
would
the
want
heart.
my relationship to manifest
Okay.
itself.
That's
And
why
if
when April be angry, I'll be like, "Shut up, you lucky bitch."
because how fucking dare you with your happy self,
I'm
but
like, "Shut up."
yeah. But if the majority of relationships existed like yours did, we would have such an easier time, like really and truly, really
But
and
you know,
truly.
as
The
So
one
on the
that
easy,
next
exactly to be spoken of.
yeah,
Yeah.
you know,
Right?
as easy as we say it, they also putting a lot of work to getting to where they
Yeah.
are,
Yes, we
which a lot
did.
of
Yes, we did.
relationships don't, to be honest. And that's one thing I love about April is her transparency. Like, she's not like, "Oh, I'm married now, so I'm only gonna hang out with my married friends." Like, she be telling us and I'm like, wow, that's what's going on. That's how you communicate. That's how you fix this problem.
Yeah.
Like, it's really
Because it's
amazing to
still
watch.
work.
So,
It's still
hi,
work, and we see
hubby.
that. Yeah, you all are husband Phil at this point, so edit. But we
Whatever.
we yes.
We all married through them. We watching. All right, but cool. Anyway, let's wrap up this. Just want to say thanks,
It's
Jimmy
fine, it's fine.
and Dizzy, for joining us on this podcast. This was very, very interesting and a lot of great perspectives as well. Looking
Mm-hmm.
forward to you guys joining us in future episodes. And this is probably going to be our longest episode for sure.
Girl.
But anyway, thank you guys for joining us. And again, for our listeners,
Yeah. For our listeners, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, review, tell your mama, tell your friends, tell everybody. And definitely join us on the next one. We definitely would love to hear you guys' feedback on how you feel about the subjects today, especially with dating. I know there's a lot of dating stories out there, so definitely drop them below. And remember, life be lifing, but we got y'all.
we got you. All right, bye, y'all.
Bye. Thanks for having us.
Awesome. Damn, Dizzy, say bye.
Bye.